committee from that district. Geoff Diehl, what's going on here? What's the point of this motion? Who's behind it? I know Adam Lang says he's behind it. Who else is involved in this?
Well, Adam was I'll tell you, first of all, I'm going to say, I'm surprised it took this long for something like this to actually come forward. But I will say Adam certainly represents quite a few people across the state that I met from 2016 on who supported President Trump and who have been very frustrated with having a Republican governor who has done, in my opinion, nothing to support the president. And I don't know if, Howie, maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong. Has there been one thing that the president's done that Governor Baker has actually congratulated him on? I actually can't think of it. I mean, peace and prosperity would normally be something that's celebrated by any governor, especially if he's in your own party. I don't recall anything to date that Governor Baker said positive about President Trump.
No, well, Today, once again, he's his own failings in getting the vaccinations out to the state. It's the worst job in New England, the worst job in the Northeast, and he's blaming the federal government. Now that Biden's president, he won't blame Biden by name. He blames "quote unquote" the federal government. He's alibi Ike, as they used to say. He's very good at pointing the fingers at everybody else. The buck never stops at Charlie Baker's desk. That's for sure.
He was a federalist when Trump was putting out policy, but now it's all the federal government that's to blame when things go wrong for Charlie. I get it. Well, look, I think Adam Lang, like I said, is someone I know who's been incredibly supportive of the president. Adam recently tried to join the state committee. There was a special election, and I know the governor was against him on that. So, not a surprise that there is a group of people out there that want to see kind of like what Arizona did. I mean, I think this is what happened over the weekend, maybe spurred this.
Yeah.
The fact that the Arizona GOP censored 3 of their own Republicans, prominent Republicans in the state. And maybe if Massachusetts does this on Wednesday, you might see more states actually holding elected Republicans accountable for not supporting a president for the last 4 years who's given, the economy the greatest boost it's ever had, is again, not engaged us in any foreign wars, in fact, retracted troops back to the United States. So, truthfully, it's amazing that Republicans were ever against this president, but we've seen Mitt Romney, obviously former governor, now a senator from Utah, do it, and our own current governor has.
And Mitt Romney goes on Fox News Channel and promotes Charlie Parker as a future presidential candidate. Well, birds of a feather flocking together.
There we go. But no, look, what's going to happen is if this petition is successful, if there's enough people, I guess, sign this thing, it'll be presented to the state committee. It'll take one person on state committee to bring it to the floor. I think there's somebody that's been discussed who's going to bring this to the floor and ask for a motion to have it voted on. So we'll see if it's taken up on the floor for a vote, then I'll be able to give you a result. If we don't get a floor vote, but we do get a vote on whether it's taken up, maybe we'll be able to give you that roll call as well. We'll see what happens on Wednesday.
So it's going to be a close vote, though, if it goes to the membership, because Jim Lyons, who's been critical of the governor's lack of support for President Trump, he was narrowly reelected a couple of weeks ago, correct? By only, I think, 3 or 4 votes.
There's 27 members of the state committee who currently work in the governor's administration. I think you can count on those 27 votes not going in the way of censure. So what we're hoping is the remainder of the people who aren't beholden to the governor for a job right now actually vote their conscience. If this ends up coming up to a
so I'm doing the math in my head here, Geoff. So if you subtract 27 from the 80, that means there's 53 people left. So the people who want to censure Baker have to then get 41 of the 53 votes to censure the governor.
We actually have two. We have 2 seats that are currently, one is unseated from the 2nd Suffolk, and there was a recent resignation. So that's actually 2 votes less. So subtract 1 from that number you just gave us.
Okay, so 40.
There's only 78 current members.
So you need 40 then. 40.
Yeah, I believe 40 would do it. That's right. So again, I guess if people want to see a censure, they should go to that website. But look, it's again something that I think has been. It's very obvious that there's a schism with the governor, Republican governor, and the president. And as we've seen, Trump's popularity in Massachusetts has been very high. I think polling put it at well above 85%, closer to 90% approval of Massachusetts registered Republicans. Now, I know that, again, that doesn't translate to the general election population, the general voters, but within the Republican Party in Massachusetts, I think most people feel that Donald Trump was, delivering on all the promises he put forward when he ran for office. And again, I think it's not surprising you see activists now taking this into their own hands and wanting to see some accountability from the governor.
Why not also censure Lieutenant Governor Karen Polito? She also made equally intemperate comments and statements about the president of the United States when he demanded that the governor demanded that the president be impeached.
Well, maybe that petition gets put forward after this one is done. It's a good point that you make. I guess if I were both the governor and lieutenant governor, I would just implore them to perhaps retract their calls for his resignation, or retract their calls for this second impeachment trial, which, as you've correctly pointed out, is completely unfounded. And by the way, I mean, did they even know, or did they even pay attention to the fact that there was no witnesses called in the House? There was no chance for a defense by the president whatsoever. I don't know how this even actually moves forward to the Senate with any clear conscience. But if it does, again, I would think that the governor has a chance to sort of save himself from censure here by retracting his call for the.
As Buddy Holly would say, Geoff, that'll be the day.
Well, he's got an out. Let's just put it this way: he's got a chance to give himself an out, is my opinion. Now, I'm not saying that's for sure, but I would think that if he retracted it, that would be a very good way to keep the state party from taking this up for a vote.
Is it safe to say that Charlie Parker not only hates Donald Trump, but he hates anybody who supports Donald Trump? I mean, that there's no room in. Shall I describe it as the hackorama for anybody who supports Trump?
Well, let me put it this way. I don't think I got a Christmas card from the baker from Swampscott this year. So I don't know what his true feelings are towards anybody, that does support the president. But it doesn't feel warm and fuzzy from where I sat when I was on Beacon Hill or when I was running for U.S. Senate. And I think, again, Adam Lang represents quite a few people across the state who put themselves out there. And when you talk about Adam Lang, he organized hundreds of standouts, and we're not just talking about in the summer. We're talking about the fall and the winter. He's been diehard, and so have been so many people who supported the president and wanted to make sure that people saw that with the standouts they had all across the state. The boat parades, I mean, things like that. You've really got to look at the activists around Massachusetts and say the Republicans felt president was doing a good job. And again, when you have a governor that can't even recognize the lowest unemployment in 50 years, the highest stock market we've ever had, and at least give the president some kudos, there is a disconnect. And I don't think it's on the part of the people who are Republican voters. I think it's starting at the top.
Are you running for governor next year?
Howie, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that later in the year. I've got I'm back in the dreaded private sector. I'm enjoying it, and I certainly want to make sure that if I do make that decision, it's gonna take a little while, and certainly my wife is gonna be a big part of that decision. So let's talk about that another time.
603 says, how appropriate that Charlie Parker lives in Swamp Scott.
Yeah,
I hadn't thought of that. Anyway, give people the website. And again, you just scroll when you get there. Just scroll down, and you'll see where to sign. It's not a huge website. It's not complicated. But you've got to scroll down a little bit to get there. What's the website?
He hung up.
Oh, he hung up. Okay, the website is censurebaker.com. CENSURE Baker.com. Censurebaker.com. And it works. And we put a link out. We tweeted out a link earlier. So if you're still on Twitter, and if you're not, I don't blame you. And as soon as Parler comes back, we'll be gone. But if you're still on Twitter, you can just go to the link. Just go to, if you're a follower of mine at Howie Carr Show, you can just get it right there and just to get the link. 844-500-4242. We'll be right back. I'm Howie Carr.
Don't touch that dial. Howie Carr will be back after this.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by Old New England Soap. From bath bombs to candles for her and shave soap for him, Old New England Soap has what you need for Valentine's Day. Order today at oldnesoap.com. You may have heard that many of the RV and camping shows have been canceled, but don't worry. Cold Springs RV is happy to announce the New England RV Show. This is Howie Carr, and if you're a camper, I've got 2 words of advice for you. Buy early. With the popularity of camping growing and manufacturers' constraints, the earlier you shop, the better. Visit Cold Springs RV in Ware, New Hampshire to make sure you get spring delivery. Go to newenglandrvshow.com to learn about this safe show.
Alexander Hamilton said, "Those who stand for nothing will fall for anything." This is Toby from Cape Gunworks. When our founding fathers drafted the Second Amendment, there was no question of its meaning. Today, if you have questions, come to Cape Gunworks for some advice, training, or to send a few rounds downrange. We have a fully stocked pro shop with a huge selection of guns, crossbows, archery, classes, rentals, 15-lane range, and a friendly staff. Come on down to Cape Gunworks, Airport Road, Hyannis, or capegunworks.com.
They're outlandish, they're outrageous, and they're hypocrites. They're the women of The View.
Bernie was so menschy in that moment, like a real guy. I actually am aroused by him.
Timothy McVeigh was a Christian. Just saying.
Hitler was a Christian.
Well, he didn't like the Catholics.
Trump needs to be medicated and hospitalized at this point, or he is going to just kill all of us.
I mean, do we have to wait till the hammer and sickle is on the American flag before we stand up to this guy?
Joy, you've worn blackface.
I did not go in blackface, please.
No, she was not in blackface.
Thank you.
It was a Halloween party. I went as a beautiful African woman.
Did you have tanning lotion on,
A little, I had makeup that was a little bit darker than my skin.
I'm hoping Dr. Jill becomes a Surgeon General. She's a hell of a doctor. Whoopi, you said that Roman Polanski, it wasn't rape. I know it wasn't rape.
Child molest, maybe? I'm not sure.
It was something else, but I don't believe it was rape.
Hair loss is not one of life's more enjoyable experiences. If you're looking to fill in your hairline or reverse years of hair loss, DiStefano Hair Restoration will create a result that will be a transformative experience. The result of my IGT procedure was quite remarkable. I now have fuller, thicker hair so I can even wear it a bit longer. There are a few major decisions I've made in my life that I wish I did sooner. My hair restoration is number 1. It was by far one of the best moves I've ever made. My hair looks awesome, and the confidence from having a full head of hair again has left me feeling great. I used to look in the mirror and dreaded seeing my ever-increasing bald spot. Now when I look in the mirror, I see the new me with a full head of thick hair. For information on how to make the same choice I did, go to hairman.com/Howie. What are you waiting for? More hair to fall out? Get the hair you've always wanted. Hairman.com/Howie.
What does the mainstream media really think of you? Banjos, please.
Bigots and racists. Credulous, rude, tin-toothed, working class, angry, white.
Aging, angry white guys.
Angry white man.
Angry white old men.
These angry white men.
The angry white vote. All these angry white people. Too many of them want to see the people who are begging for change put down.
Racist, bigoted base.
It's white privilege, it's white nationalism, it's anger, it's rage, it's insult.
They tolerate a certain level of racism.
1 in 3 Americans are racist.
The credulous boomer rube demo.
Y'all elitists are
You elitists with your geography and your maps and your spelling. Even though my
your math and your reading.
Yeah, you're reading. They're too far gone.
Look at them. They're high-fiving each other, and they're going to go back, to the Olive Garden and to the Holiday Inn that they're staying at in the Garden Marriott, and they're going to have some drinks.
Giving credit to his dying day, if ever he lives that long.
Howie Carr is back.
Today's Eden Pure poll question is brought to you by the Thunderstorm. BOGO is back for this week only. Buy one Eden Pure Thunderstorm air purifier and get one free. That's the sponsor of today's poll question. To order, go to EdenPure.com and put in code word Howie BOGO. Howie BOGO. This is a great deal. 2 for 1. 2 for 1. You can get it's a great product. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Would you go to jail for 15 hours to keep your dog?
Yes, I would.
27% say they wouldn't.
844-500-4242. Would they get the rescue cat at the White House? I think they should name it Tara. Don't you? I don't care if it's a boy or a girl, male or female. It should be named Tara. 844-500-4242. Russ, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Russ.
You know, Howie, you and I both know, and all the conservatives listening, that Charlie Baker is a true rhino who would love to purge the party leadership of conservatives. And the only way he became governor, the Democrats put up two lame candidates against him. And had they put up Steve Grossman instead, he would have never become the governor of Massachusetts.
Well, let me go further. I think he wouldn't have become governor if he hadn't attached himself to the anti-automatic gas tax increase in 2014, which was being run by Geoff Diehl, who we just had on. I mean, the anti-gas tax question won by more than 100,000 votes, and Charlie Parker only won by 40,000 votes against the worst candidate in the recent political history of Massachusetts, Marsha Coakley.
But because I gathered over 300 signatures myself.
Right, and he went out there and he said, I'm all in. I want to stop the gas tax increases. And what is he promoting now, Russ? What is he promoting now? He wants to increase the gas taxes without a vote by the people or by the legislature, under the guise of climate change. And they're lying. They're saying, oh, it's only going to be 5 to 9 cents a gallon. Tufts University, hardly a bastion of anti-tax fervor, says it could be as high as 38 cents per gallon. And at the same time, Buttigieg is talking about jacking up the federal gas tax. Russ, I mean, hasn't he done enough damage with all these lockdowns, all these thousands of businesses destroyed? No hacks have lost a single day's pay, and now he says the president should be impeached again. It's intolerable. And you know that Marsha Coakley. Think about Marsha Coakley. If she hadn't been running against Marty Walsh for state rep in Dorchester back in, I think, 1997, he probably wouldn't have a career. He wouldn't have become the mayor. He wouldn't be on the fast track to be Secretary of Labor. He wouldn't have $6.2 million in the bank for his account. Then she runs for Senate against Scott Brown. He's a wicked underdog, but she's such a bad candidate, he gets propelled into the U.S. Senate, at least for a couple of years. Then the Democrats should have won for governor in 2014, but she was the candidate, and she made it possible for Charlie Parker to get in. You know, if you're a white male now in Massachusetts, it's getting tougher and tougher to be elected to anything, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, unless, of course, you get to run against Marsha Coakley. She propelled the mayor of Boston, the last Republican U.S. senator, and the current Republican governor all into office. 844-500-4242. That's the toll-free question of the Howie Carr Show. When we get back, I want to go over some numbers for you out of the Tax Foundation about what the ban on menthol cigarettes since last June has had on Massachusetts tax revenue. And also probably equally important, what effect it's had on New Hampshire and Rhode Island tobacco tax revenue. You think there's going to be a correlation? I'm Howie Carr.